Well, it's that time of year again already. It's virtually Christmas Eve for Football Manager players. FM24 is on the horizon. The beta is very soon to be released. And as a result today, I am back with my annual channel update and my FM24 Save Plans video. I hope you're looking forward to what I've got in store. We'll be running through that in a bit of detail later, what you can expect both here on YouTube and over on Twitch as well. But before that, we're also going to do some annual housekeeping and some quick updates as well. So a full channel update here, but if you're looking forward to FM24 as much as me, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. I hope you're as excited about all the new features as I am. It's certainly been promising based on what we were expecting, with the big match engine upgrades already announced for FM25. To have this much excitement about 24 and what's been announced, it feels like it could be a very good year, but we don't want to get too excited just yet. But before we go and get into our save plans and what we're going to be doing for our long-term stories here on YouTube and over on Twitch as well, I do want to get through a few quick housekeeping items. So first couple do relate to FM24. We've had a few save ideas videos and FM24 related content already, so you can check all of those out up in the eye above. And also, if you want to pre-order FM24 while supporting the channel and you haven't done so already, you can use the link at the top of the description for Fanatical, which gets you 18% off the Steam prices. A massive thank you to those of you that have already done it. It does make a massive difference. And one other quick plug on that front as well. It's Amazon Prime Day tomorrow on Wednesday, and I've linked the laptop in the description that I got in the summer Prime Day. Plays FM24 really well, not at the price of a gaming laptop or anything like that. So if you are looking for a tech upgrade ahead of a new game, that one may be suitable for you too. And if you are planning on buying anything in the Amazon Prime Day sales, and if you click on that link and go and do your shopping as normal, it will also help support the channel. So thank you very much for that. The final housekeeping update is my usual annual thank you to both channel members, Twitch subs and patrons as well. You all make a massive difference, and it's never something I ask for because I never ask people to give things for money they wouldn't spend anyway. But those of you who choose to do it of your own accord, you make a massive difference to this channel. And of course, as well as having your names at the end of the video, if you're a YouTube member or a patron, it does make a massive difference in supporting this channel. So thank you so much for your incredible support. But with that all out of the way, let's move on to FM24 because you want to know what's coming over the next year. We've talked a little bit on Twitch already about what was holding back this video and what we were potentially going to do before and now anyway. So let's go and get into the first main save. And this one almost wasn't happening this year, but I don't think you're going to have any surprises. Save number one is this. Yes, the mainstay of the channel is back for another year. The head coach will return for FM24. I've got to be honest, I was almost going to give this a year off because if we go back to last year's edition, without too many spoilers for those who haven't seen it, some of the problems with the transfer work, the recruitment, and particularly the way a director of football functioned when you handed over responsibilities to them, it just made it a little bit less enjoyable and it made it a bit harder to be realistic. With that in mind though, we were planning to give it a year off, and then the FM24 headline features came, and almost all of them related to transfers, recruitment, management of finances, agents, intermediaries, all of that stuff. And all of them are going to be key parts and cogs in the wheel when it comes to the head coach. So for those of you that have never seen that save before, it is essentially a director of football challenge combined with a journeyman series. We start as a Sunday League manager with no reputation, no coaching badges, and at every club we manage, we have no say in transfers, staffing, or contracts. Now, there is going to be one slight difference this year to what we've done in previous editions. Before, I've always argued that it's more realistic for an English manager to start in the UK, and that's where your reputation's going to be. So we've always, where we've had job offers, accepted the British-based one first. But what we're increasingly seeing in the real world, and I guess the two highest profile examples are probably Graham Potter and Will Still, but there are lots of others out at smaller reputation clubs across the world, is that a lot of British managers are now going abroad to start their career, and they're trying to build themselves up before returning to the UK. So it is something we're going to try and do this year. Of course, it is in the hands of the FM gods a little based on what jobs we get offered. If we only get offered one job and it's in England, then of course we're going to have to take it. But my plan is that our first job will be outside of the UK, whether that goes to the League of Ireland, which is a little bit of a less inventive one, or it ends up in Scandinavia, Japan or Australia. We're going to try and go abroad for our first job and work our way back to the top in England rather than working our way up in the UK and then moving abroad. So I feel that's going to be plenty of fun this year, and based on my second save, you might understand why I want to do that. But I feel like the head coach is going to have a real vigour to it this year, and if the FM24 headline features work as promised, then it could be one of my biggest challenges yet. We'll talk about the scheduling of the save in a minute once we've announced our second one, because yes, as always, we will be rotating 2 long-term stories, and the second one this time sees us return to England. Yes, we will be managing stricken Southend United, or at least stricken until very recently anyway. The reason that this save plans video is a bit later than it usually is for me is that we didn't know whether this club would exist in its current form come this weekend and come the release of FM24. This time last week, there was no big news of a takeover and Southend United were 3 days from being wound up in court. However, the remarkable job they've done on the pitch has now been resolved off it as well. A takeover has been completed, the HMRC debt has been paid, and Southend United can now look forward to the future. Now, there's a few reasons I've picked this club. I was torn between Southend and Scunthorpe, who had had a similar plight, but there are some differences here. Southend have got minus 10 points to start their first season, which does mean that rather than aiming for promotion in our first year, we've got to focus on consolidating before we can push on. Southend have also had struggles with players this year due to the financial woes and the situation they've been in. A lot of the times they've only been able to name 2, 3 or 4 substitutes in the league. And as a result of another new FM feature, I might take it on in this save. Now, we've talked about it extensively in our Twitch streams and on Discord and whatever. We've talked about the real world starting feature for FM24 and what the differences are between the original. While generally I'm not going to use the real world one too often, I feel the Southend United save might be the right one for it. Just because then at certain points of the season, we will only have 12 players, 13 players. Until October, it will be the same struggle that the club have had in real life. And I feel that that is the fair way to do it. Of course, we don't know with the real world feature, which has been designed more for the top end of the game, whether it's going to translate properly to Southend. But the plan is I'm going to have a look at it on the first night the beta comes out. And if it's right and it's working as it should do, then Southend United will be the club we start with in the real world feature. And that means for a lot of the first 2 months, we will have less than 5 substitutes to pick. That is going to be a massive challenge and hopefully one we can overcome. But I felt it was too good to turn down. Both Southend and Scunthorpe have played in a championship with my club Luton Town in the mid to late 2000s. Scunthorpe were the side we played in the EFL Trophy Final in 2009 in our minus 30 season, and Southend United, the side that cost us a playoff place in our first season back in League 2 in our remarkable 10-year rise recently. So those 2 clubs did play a special part in that journey for Luton Town, and as a result, I always keep an eye on them. And Southend, it was a great chance to take them on. We're going to have a real challenge in store on the pitch because if you haven't seen it and kept up with the National League this year, Kevin Marr, a Southend legend, is doing an incredible job on the pitch with them. And to match what he's doing in real life is going to be quite difficult, so we might end up looking pretty poor. Again, in that one, we're going to start with no coaching badges, no reputation. But our aim is, no matter how long it takes, to build Southend sustainably to avoid future financial problems, do it the way that Luton have in real life, but to get to the top of English football and hopefully the top of European football too. So I hope you're looking forward to these 2 saves on the YouTube channel. The normal schedule will generally apply, but there are going to be a few tweaks this year. Of course, most of you know I am a Luton Town fan, and Luton Town have made it to the Premier League this year. As a result, the scheduling for home and away games is a little different due to lots more games being on TV, and that means that on occasional days I will be unavailable. Travel plans and away days permitting though, we should be able to stick to our usual beta schedule, which is as soon as the FM24 beta is released, we'll get our first head coach video out as quickly as possible that day, and then from the second day of the beta onwards, we will have 2 long-term stories every day. The Southend United story will be in the 11:30 AM slot, and the head coach will be in the 3:30 PM slot. That will continue for the first 2 or 3 weeks throughout the beta, as I've got that time booked off work. But then unfortunately, once the day job comes back into fruition, we will have to go down to 1 video a day. So from about the 3rd or 4th week, we'll go back to our daily slot at 3:30 PM with the 2 long-term stories rotating, as they have for much of this year. In addition to those 2 long-term stories on YouTube, we will have our usual extra specials as well. So we'll have a first look at FM24 Mobile, which was actually one of the most viewed videos last year, weirdly. We'll go and have a little review of that once it comes out. Of course, this year it is exclusive to Netflix games, so it'll be interesting to see if that makes any difference or leads to any new features we might not have otherwise seen. I'm also planning on doing a few more little guide and tips videos for new features in particular. It's something I've really enjoyed doing over the last couple of years, but probably not done as many as I wanted to. So keep your eyes peeled for those over the next few weeks. But that's all of the YouTube stuff out of the way. Let's move over to Twitch, because over there we have got some fun to be had. And I think most of you, if you haven't heard it already, might be able to guess what we're going to do for our beta save on Twitch. I'm going to manage my beloved Luton Town. It is the FM24 edition, which means it is the Luton Town Premier League edition. I'm going to take charge of my club, and we're going to do it realistically. Now, I've seen a few people say they're doing realistic Luton saves before, and then they've gone and spent 30 or 40 million on people. No, we're not doing it that way. We're doing it the proper Luton Town way. We will have no transfers in during the first window. Unless there's any free agent signings in real life, then we'll try and replicate them, because there is one being talked about at the minute that might not make the FM data cut. But otherwise, we are going to stick with the squad we've got. We're going to try and find a winning tactic, and we're going to try and keep Luton in the Premier League. The plan initially was that I was thinking about doing it on YouTube, but I just thought if I go on a run of winning 2 or 3 games, everyone's going to accuse me of cheating. So we're going to do it on Twitch. You'll see every single league game over there. We're going to stream virtually every day during the beta period, just for about an hour and a half or so, as we do normally. So I'll have an evening slot around 7:30 where we watch some of the live evening football too. And then at the weekends, we'll start at our usual 10 AM, aside from the days where I'm at Luton away games, because obviously that does have to take priority this time. So Twitch is going to be the home for Luton Town during the beta. The plan afterwards was to do something with the Japanese league, but it will depend on whether we get offered a job in Japan in a head coach, because I don't want to have duplication there. So that may change, but my initial idea is that my main Twitch save after the beta will be something from Japan, because I do love the J League, and of course for the first time it is in and licensed in FM24. So that's the plan for Twitch, which of course the link to follow is up in the eye above and down in the description below. You can come and join us on Discord for all the FM24 chat. And as always, a massive thank you for your incredible support. It's been another brilliant year on a channel. I've had great fun doing it, and it still feels like a hobby, which you guys are a massive part of making happen. I've got a couple of questions for you down in the comments as well. Which save are you most looking forward to? And more importantly, who are you planning to manage first in FM24? What type of save are you planning to do as your main one this year? And who are you going to get your hands on for the beta? I hope you're looking forward to what I've got in store and will come and join me for as much of it as possible. If you did enjoy this video looking at my FM24 plans, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. If you're stuck for save ideas, as I mentioned earlier, there's a few videos with some in already up in the eye above, as well as some chat about some FM24 features too. Don't forget you can pre-order the game down below from Fanatical and help support this channel. And a massive thank you again to all the channel members, patrons and Twitch subs. Your support is greatly appreciated. You can check out the football podcast in the meantime. We've got Championship and Premier League predictions every match day up in the eye above. And you might see the return of the network save with Craig a bit later on in the FM24 cycle. But that's it for my FM24 plans. I hope you're looking forward to it as much as me. The new features have got me very excited. Fingers crossed the beta lives up to all of the excitement. We'll find out in the next 1 to 2 weeks. In the meantime, we'll be back with Distillery tomorrow as we head into the final season of our FM23 Build a Nation story. I'll see you there.